I'm dedicated to music. I did very well at the business. I was very successful in the recording industry, and I'm very proud of it. And it was a lot of hell for me to go through the periods between one album and the next album. You know what I mean? It was rough for me. I lost footing and I lost grip on life. And I went through these real insecure periods, and I certainly didn't like what I was going through. I'll tell you that much. I wasn't going for that. So I go in the studio and I knock the hell out of the studio, and I just go in there and knock them dead and make something out there. Make something up, whip up a tune. That people could tap their foot to or could lend an ear to see if they like it or not. And to give an opinion or anything.
So
I was jealous of Phil Spector at one time because he seemed to have the ability to release a record right after he recorded. He would go in and before you know it, his record was on the market. With the Beach Boys, it took a couple extra weeks. It wasn't quite as fast a releasing system.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I was envious of. I'm envious of other artists and producers also. And that inspires me. Although you think it would cause a negative in you, but it causes a positive reaction in me. It makes me get in there and try harder. You know what I mean? A little without some challenges and competition, you're just not going to do it. You're going to slack. You're bound to slack down.
You just think, I'm king of the hill.
Yeah.
But this way, there's somebody who's going, well, I kind of like that throne. So you have
Yes.
to go, oh, yeah? Melt Away. The song Melt Away, you said, was inspired by an identity crisis you have in your life. The way you see yourself versus the way other people see you.
In other words, when a person sees you, they get an estimate of what you are, and that's their conception of what you are. Okay? Now, say you know a lot more about yourself than that person does. And so therefore that's called what you know you are, okay? Versus what somebody thinks you are. The old dilemma. And that's really what it is.
Does it bother you? What people
Sure it does. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you don't feel like, who cares? I know what I am, so.
Can't do that. I'm very affected by people and the way people look at me, and the way they think of me. And I can't deal with it sometimes, It's just sometimes I don't get enough respect as I think I should. Although what could you expect? People, I'm just a person, so what is being a genius, But I just think I should have got more pats on the back. I do get a lot of people walk up to me and say, Brian, I bought your album and I love it. That's a great experience though.
Yeah.
That's a great experience.
Do you care what they think of you beyond the music, or is it just how they respond to the music?
It's how they respond to the music, I think. I think the music speaks for itself, It's like that's you speaking through music. What a magical idea. You speaking through music. I mean, to imagine that.
It is pretty special. It's funny because I think everyone gives you pats on the back. I mean, just my perception of it is everyone just is Brian Wilson. It's like so awe-inspiring, the things you did in music and what you represent, that maybe they're even too shy to come up and tell you. I mean, maybe they should because you'd like to hear it. But I think everyone just thinks that your contribution is like a mountain. You couldn't even begin to climb it or even conceive of it. You know what I'm saying? So I think people think that. What keeps you on top of the ice?
Willpower. Willpower and guts. Willpower and the guts to keep going, when things get rough. I go at my pace these days, I'm learning to go along with it, but I go a little slower because I want to make sure I get everything along with me, you know what I mean? So that when I slow down a little bit, I'm able to make sense of things better when I go slower. When I go too fast, I don't have the time to make sense of nothing, and I can't get a range on what I'm trying to do. If I could just get that range, that good range on people and what they want, I could create something perfect. I could create a monster record. I really could.
Have you not created a monster record?
No, not really a monster record, but good, smash records.
So the monster is waiting?
Yes, the monster's still inside of me and wants to come out.
That's something to look forward to, right? Getting the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame award.
That was such a thrill. Except for Mike Love's obvious idiot thing where he got out of control on the stage and started choosing off the Rolling Stones. I mean, Michael's a great artist and he's a very smart guy, but I mean, it wasn't wise to be doing that. It's not good image,
No, it was really terrible, actually.
Yeah.
But the event itself, your speech was wonderful.
Yeah, I read that speech. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was a great speech and
it was
very touching. How did it feel, though, to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Well, when you're going up against giants like that, when we're placed among giants like that, we feel big. You know, it puffed our egos up a little bit to get inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You know, it puffed us up, made us feel good.
You have said also that music is the voice of God. And I wonder if it can also be the voice of the opposite. Can music be like love can turn to hate? Can music be turned into a negative, do you think?
It depends on how heavy metal you want to get, you know.
So you think I mean, you can use it in that way.
You can use it to a destructive ends. It can become a destructive force, or yes, it can.
Because I think that, you know, reading about what's happened with you in your life, you've said sometimes that the music almost blew your mind. And I wonder if the music became a negative force in your life. Or if,
No,
no.
not my music. Other people's music did. Some people's music did, yeah.
Oh,
But
wow.
no, I don't know. I kind of backed down from some of that stuff. It's too heavy, you know. I got to take a few minutes off when that stuff is playing, you know.
And just
Yeah, I take it off and I take a few minutes off and I check it out. Then I get back in the ring and into the ring and start swinging again, you know.
You have said you're putting your soul on the line
Yes,
with this record.
yes.
Why is it so personal? Some artists go do their thing and then they go home and they act a totally different way. This seems to me that I can't separate you, the man, from the music. You're really one and the same.
Well, I don't know how to answer that question. I really don't.
You don't separate them, though, do you?
Nah. Total immersement, or commitment, immersement. Um, um, being truthful and saying at the onset of the project, I know I'm going to be able to do this, or you're going to tell yourself you can't do it, you know. And being at that point, or being at that kind of place, invariably people either out of fear or out of anger say, yes, I can, you know. And I mean, people are offended when something comes up that they don't think they can handle, you know what I mean? So they feel very offended by that. So therefore their egos are challenged, and their egos say, I'm not afraid of this, I can do it, you know. That's usually what it is, you know. It's a bunch of challenges in life, you know. You go through life and you get challenged and you say, what? And you're afraid, and then your anger takes over, and you go, and then your ego gets unleashed. And when that happens, forget it. I mean, you're gone. You're down. You're history.
But making the music, even though it's a challenge, you love it, right? I mean,
Yes.
so it's something that you really want to be doing.
Yes, I want to make music because I want to feel what I feel. You know what I mean? And I want that feeling to go on through my arms and down into my hands and my fingers and on the keys with my leg moving and to the rhythm and getting that song together. Getting some kind of arrangement. Anything. Music is what I want, and music is what I'm going to get.
Right. And obviously, more and more. So you will be going on tour?
It looks like I will in January, yes.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it is.
Does that make you kind of nervous too? Because it's been a long time
Yes,
since you've been.
very much. But like anything else, it takes practice, you know. You can't get a show in 10 days. It'll take you a month to get it right. But once you've got the show, boom, you're on
Yeah. Well,
with your show, you know.
the future looks bright and fabulous, I think, for
The
Brian.
future does look good. I'm going to make the future look good. How about that?
I think that's great. I want to thank you very much for being with us.
You're welcome. Thank you.